Good morning, everybody. It is your host, Ray Capone. It is September 30th of 2022. It is 4:22 a.m. local time, Eastern Standard, of course. Um, after about I would say nearly 2 weeks of absence, if I may recall. Um, if you guys were not aware of why I didn't stream the third side of the podcast, or podcast number three last week, I was in New York about nearly a week over there. It's family business over there. Uh, I enjoyed it for the most part, and it was good. On the environment wise, it was nice. It was nice to see my family over there in New York. Haven't been there in about a decade. Um, Good to see them, and good to see my cousin getting married, and that's why they just hosted a wedding in New York. So congrats to him as well. Very proud of him. And so, with all this business going on, we're gonna go ahead and talk straight to business. All right. So, if I'm not mistaken, we left off about before Kansas happened. I will assume it was before Kansas. So let's get through after Kansas and Talladega. Let's go ahead and start with the truck series. So, as I expected what I said from Kansas, Red Knighter dominated the entire race. Didn't got the pole, but that's for sure. He swept the stages to get the. Actually, I don't even remember if he even swept the stage. Actually, no, he didn't. Windows won stage one. I think that's what. No, Red won stage one. Then Windows won stage two. Actually, no, 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 no. I was right at the first time. Windows won stage three. Red won stage four, and actually, no, I can't even remember anymore. But it was like a split even. So Windows and Red split the stages. By the end of the day, Windows came out with the final stage with the wind. Um, Red Knight. I think I said window. Sorry, it's 5:25. Um, Red Knight take the final stage with the victory at Kansas. Um, I didn't check what the points was back then, so but we're not getting to the points yet, so we're just gonna go straight by race by race. So we dominated this race. Obviously, here I commanded the lead, but we're not gonna tell you the amount, so we're gonna go straight to Talladega. Talladega is the first race that you could be win and end in this one. So anyone who is like about outside of the championship contention that are still in the playoffs can actually have a chance to fight for the championship at Homestead. And guess what? One of them won actually. You guys might think it might be Demi Dozier, Bakers. No, it was actually Genesect. Um, Red Knighter, Red Knight Fighter, swept the stages of 1-2. Genesect basically swept the stages for second places in both stages. And then Genesect actually came out of stage three, final stage, of course, with the victory in Insanity that books him into a championship fight at um, at Homestead. Red finished third during that race, so he gets solid points. Big points, actually. Glenn also had a pole, but he was like nowhere near. Actually, Glenn wasn't even part of this race. There were controversy about it. There were some drama for drivers who are not in the playoff contention, were mostly in an effective way of ruining people's championship hopes. We've seen a couple of those recently, and nobody does it better than CRD. Because CRD, he had a moment as a non-playoff driver. I think he's like literally the non-only playoff driver. Actually, that's not how I say it. Only non-playoff driver who is literally still racing when he's like literally no point of winning at all, regardless. So sucks at super speedways, that's for sure. And that also indirectly ruined Makika Hobbs, Red Niners championship rival, championship hopes. CRD basically took him out at the trial wheel during the final stage during that race, and Monkey went on his roof side to get DNF because of it, and CRD gets parked regardless. And according to Zachary himself, he remains the races. He continues to race at Martinsville and Phoenix, but he is suspended from racing at Homestead. It is kind of interesting on a decision by Zachary himself. He, I don't think he was not supposed to be suspended for Homestead. I think he should be suspended for the rest of the season. Because we literally seen it what Matt Kenseth did in 2015 against Logano. He got suspended for basically the remaining of the season, and that doesn't really matter if anything for him. So why can this not be affected to CRD more? It literally happened in Kansas, and he's doing it again here at Talladega. He's basically losing his mind. And playoff drivers are going to be very concerned about CRD for the next two races until Homestead. This guy's going to find a way to ruin someone else's championship runs. And it's not going to be pretty. Not by bit. So here's where the point standings are leaving off after Talladega. Red Knight Fighter with a point lead with 1,249 points. As the leader, of course. His championship rival, Monkey Got Hobbs, is right behind him with only 1,180 points, which is basically 69 points behind. Nice. And then Janicek, who clutched in the winning in for the championship fight at Homestead, sits in third with the 1,130, which is only about behind about 119 points of the leader. And drivers like Damien Dozier and Bakers are probably going to be out of contention unless they win the next few races that will possibly get them in the Homestead finale. So that's how we shaked up during the truck series, which is going to be interesting for the next two races at Martinsville and Phoenix. And then it's going to come down to one last race at Phoenix. Or not Phoenix, Homestead. Okay, so on to the Busch Series. This Busch Series championship fight has been broken widely open. So the Busch Series didn't do Kansas last week because of the week because of the bye week I should say, but day off, whatever you want to call it. Basically, it's gonna be the same thing. Um, Rainbow, who came into this race with a gap of what was it, 43 points. Yeah, he came into that race with 43 points behind the leader, presumably, because he was also behind of Silent, but we're going by leaders. The gap now is the gap now from, well, I want to say a gap anymore, but Rainbow just went from 43rd points to become the leader, the points leader after that race. Ray dropped second in the points, just only about 6 points behind, but he didn't collect good points during the Dega race. He blew it up miserable in stage one. Find a way picks them up again in stage two, just to get screwed again in stage three. So Rainbow basically jumped from third to first in the points. And Silent showed up late at only stage two, so he didn't got anything for stage one. Actually, I think he showed up for stage three because I don't even see his name on stage two actually. So, but Silent Volcano get second place during that race in stage three, of course. But uh, but he lost 2 points. The gap that he entered Talladega, which he arrived late, was 25. He only picked up 20 points during that race because he showed up late, so he lost about 2 points. But this breaks the championship wide open since Ray didn't got enough good points during the Dega race, which he would have had. He would have played a save in stage one if he just didn't be aggressive, trying to fight for the stage win. He would have been either second or third instead of being fifth. Stage three was not a fault of his own. He was caught up in a wreck that he couldn't avoid. So that kind of mathematically broke the championship wide open now. So Ray and Silent dropped from one positions down, while Rainbow gained up about 2 positions in the standings heading into Martinsville. is what's only concerning me now is that I only find that now that Arca is now back and fully active once again, which it was also kind of concerning me as well. Because during that race, during the Busch Series race, I think, there was a certain driver that I never was familiar of, was never part of the Busch Series lineup. He somehow gets a ride after winning an ARCA race during that day. I was vividly confused on why was this a thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, that driver did really well in an ARCA race, and he kind of did really well in the Busch Series as well. But then again, we do not need these type of drivers who are not even in the Busch Series or not even in the playoffs to be competing in the middle of a championship fight. Because that is absurd. Because that indirectly ruined Ray's hopes of maintain position of first place. Instead of being first after that race, he is second. But just only 6 points behind of Rainbow. But points are crucial. Oh yeah, the other oh yeah, Michi and Garlic and Hydra were there, but who cares about him? Like oh yeah, matter of fact, if Rainbow wins the next race, he's gonna become the second driver during that season to win 3 straight wins. The first one was done by me during before the playoffs happened from Iowa, Nashville, and New Hampshire. Now on to the Cup Series. Larkin wins at Milwaukee, gets the pole. I would assume that he kind of sweep the stages, but I don't remember. So the last lap at the end though was interesting though. A good battle between him and Windows during the Milwaukee race. I don't know if I talk about this, but Windows won Kansas. Larkins was on the pole once again. Uh, he picked up points in that race, but not big enough. So Larkins is in his lead. Then something that happened. Kuba was the winner. Red Knight, Red Knight Fighter, a substitute from the Truck Series. Well, not a substitute, but just like a one-off race. He got the pole, but Kogo comes out stage 3 to win the Digger race. And the points now is slightly extending, but not big that it was recently. Um, Larkins has a point lead of 1,370. Behind him is his championship rival, My Windows Crash, The 1310 with just only about 60 points behind Larkins. Captain Birthday 1269, just about 101 points behind of Larkins for the lead. Um, but the win and in races are coming up. So, and oh, I didn't even talk about the stages as well. So let's see about that race. Bakers won stage 1. Windows got stage 2, and Colburn won the race and get stage 3. So not bad for Bakers for getting the stage win in the Cup Series. And I believe H Patrick Star's championship hopes is over basically because one, he got stage 1 for only fifth, for finishing 5th, and I believe he might have got DNF during stage 2, so that's why he didn't get score anything in stage 2, so he might have got DNF, so he gets ninth place. That would be a total of 3 points. And number 2, if I am not mistaken correctly, he left the server. Yeah, he straight up left the server after that. He didn't say anything about coming back, so he just like had enough. There were some controversy about him recently, and they were not good ones about him. We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, those are the points that are looking like right now. And it's massively shocking. I was never streaming it. I was never showing this. All right, let's go this again. So here's the Truck Series. Here are the points. Red Knight Fighter, the leader, sitting at 1249. Marky Gahab sitting at second place with 69 points behind. Once again, nice. Genentech with a clutch and winning in race at Talladega, since at third with 1130 points, which is like 119 points behind of the leader. Rainbow got taken coming out of the week off. Went from third to first in the points. Just collect a massive chunk of points during that race. And Ray Capone failed to do so otherwise. Just sitting at second place, just only by 6 points behind Rainbow got taken. Silent Volcano showed up late during the race, so he got 20 points for finishing stage 2, but he lost 2 points. And then the Cup Series. Larkins with a commanding lead, just only 60 points ahead of Winners Crashed. Winners sitting comfortably at second, just only ahead of Captain Birthday 9. just only about 101 points behind him. And HP Patrick Star, once again, sitting fourth, just about 200, just had a disappointing race that just kind of mathematically ended his championship run and possibly retire from the server, or the league, I should say, because there's going to be a lot of talks about that guy. So anyways, let's get to talk about HP. HP. There were some rumors about you recently, and it was interesting. When the news broke out that Ray Caporne was going to sign with FRM, we knew the FRM season for season 11 is going to be a big hit for them. However, with the FRM owner forgotten to realize that there was like a minimum requirement of drivers to have in the lineup for season 11. And he had to get rid of one of those guys. And one of those guys has to be HP. And HP was originally supposed to be signed for FRM with the number 17 car. But since when I signed in to the team, it was very controversial, to say the least. Because if you want to know how bad the story was, hear what it was. So the original lineup was Larkins, Koval, HP, Rainbow, and Riot King. But when I asked Larkins, the FRM owner during this time, if it's a possible that I could get a ride for season 11, he never says no and just gets the big guy. The only problem is the roster is over limited. So he had to decide on which driver he needs to get rid of in order to have me to keep him in the team. Larkin's first suggestion was HP. HP was a controversial driver during most of his time in the Cup Series. There were some tarnish, gets people in their nerves most of the time. Hell, even gets in their own teammates in the nerves most of the time. We seen it in the Charlotte race just recently against him and Windows, his own teammate during the Charlotte Roval playoff race. And Larkins had to decide to which driver he has to release. Larkins decided to go with the Axe and just get rid of HP out of the FRM roster. So, and with that, DG Motorsports already have a full roster for season 11 as well, so there was a chance that he may not get a ride in the Cup Series. Unless if he signs with some makeup team during that chance, but that's how I know about it. I don't think he doesn't want to do that, but I think his first nomination to race on was with GB Motorsports, a Hendrick-like team. But I don't think personally HP will want to take an offer from GB Motorsports. I think he rather wants to run for DG Motorsports or FRM. But the problem is, there was no cup fight for him. So with that, this is going to be his final season in the Cup Series. Unless if he goes somewhere else. But there were some things that he said off the track, and it was not really pretty, and it was uncharacteristic. So the Boom recently lost his, I think it was grandfather, right? No, it was grandmother actually. The Boom recently lost his grandmother, and HP decides to make a oddly joke, but it was not funnyable. And that wasn't even a word I even tried to create up, but I can't even describe how you're gonna say this thing, this type of stuff, to someone who lost his grandmother. HP said this, I believe, into the Boom's DMs, quote unquote. Ryan, I would like to announce you to that I meant. Wait, actually. She is in my basement. She is healthy. And then HP replied with about that screenshot saying this, quote unquote, my basement is literally 6 inches deep. I'm not kidding. This really frustrated the Boom so much because how can you try to make this as a joke for someone who actually lost their loved ones? And it was not looking that great. And Zachary decided to not dox him anything about it, so they just like let it move on. But I think it was like a warning for HP after that. But it was something that it was something you can make fun of. The Boom make this clearly to him, quote unquote to him, Hunter, you're seriously not funny. I was literally there when she passed away. I hope you know how much pain I go through every day thinking about her, and how much I missed her, and wish I could just see her one more time and just talk about everything in life. HP HP replied, quote unquote, you don't think I went through the same thing? And the Boom replied, quote unquote, I don't give a fuck if you went through something similar. You don't see me making jokes about death, do you? That's what I fucking thought, you no good, worthless little shitbag. Worthless. This literally frustrates Ryan a lot, and I understand his pain. I just don't think you're gonna be someone that is very stupid and full, that you think you kind of deserves a right just for making jokes like that. It is unacceptable. Very unacceptable to make jokes about it. And then after that day race, he did really bad. Just only collect 3 points during the playoff race, and then he just like packs his stuff and just leaves. Because at that point, his career is over. There's no way you can come back from that. It is stupidity for HP to make jokes about it. And it's something that should never make fun of in the first place. Alright. We'll take a break. Yes, we'll be back. Alrighty, we're back. Alrighty. So, this is going to be the last topic during this podcast, and I'm going to make this real quick, brief, and short. I don't think next season's Cup Series for Season 11 would not be my final season of FloRacing. That, I believe, that belongs to the NRA, which just stands for, well, actually, the NRA Cup Series. It just there, basically. But yeah, I got signed to one of those teams, which is the Union Motorsports, which is run by Malik Vega, aka X-Pac XD. And I'll show you the car that I'm going to be racing for. Look at that. And just so you clarify, you guys know that he did not make this car. I basically designed it myself because I know the decal schemes. And plus, this is one of my favorite schemes of all time to make, so. But I'm driving in the '09 Alley Toyota Camry. As you can see, my name is on there with the Massachusetts flag on it. So, pretty cool the way and I feel happy with the gray way how it looked. Although the only downside is there were some mishaps on the templates. This this one I'm kind of like concerned about because it does not fit well on the sides of the decals. Same on the bottom side where the jagging is supposed to lift up at. It's way off. It is. It's not great. So I hope this resolve an issue, but other than that, it looks great. So there was a question that I'm gonna run that I'm not sure if I'm able to run full time during this race. But we'll may see. We'll may see. And I'm also glad I'm gonna have teammates of Monkey Got Hops, who is the championship rival of Red Knight Fighter, as we said. One Lobster, NHRA fan, and the team owner himself, X-Pac. Alright. I believe that season will possibly be possibly the end of my road racing career and for good. Big things are coming up for me. I got college coming up soon, so I looking forward to it. So that's just that's how life is. Anyways, that's all the stuff I can talk about for now. I'll be back next week, probably somewhere after Tuesday. So as for this now, I am your host, Ray Capone, and till that, y'all take it easy.